Hey ladies and gentlemen, this is Red Blue 115. Hope you are staying safe indoors from the coronavirus. Now today I'll be showing you my first tutorial of how to model Minecraft items for Blender, specifically for your own Minecraft animations. Now I thought that since some people are asking others if they have any models or rigs or not, simply because they don't know how to model. And I figured, well, maybe they should learn how to model before. Maybe they should learn how to model instead of just asking others of if they have any other rigs or models. That can sometimes be annoying. I'm sorry if I'm being mean, but that's the thing. And so, in order for people to make their own models, I'm doing this tutorial so that they don't have to ask, and they can make their own assets if they want. And that, like I said, you don't have to ask. I mean, of course, there are some other modeling tutorials out there, but here I decided to I just figured that I would teach some of my own ways, so that you can get started without going into the complications. I'll try to be informative and specific the best I can, but that's pretty much that. And I know people can have their own style of modeling. For now, I'll just teach you of my own style of modeling. You can form your own. You can also watch other modeling videos if you like. You can also watch this one too, but anyway, so let's get to it. So, as a modeler myself and a rigger, I've been making models and rigs for my own stuff for the past several months. Some of you probably have watched some of my animations involving the models that I've made. I've made most of them. I even did the ones for the Opera series trailer. That was all me. Well, some of them are. Alright, so without further ado, let's get started. So first, you want to open up your default Blender scene. So this is basically my default scene right here. Yours can be a little bit different. Anyways, so first things first. You're going to append a mesh. So let's say start off with cube. I mean, it doesn't have to be a cube. Well, probably has to be a cube or a plane, but I just choose cube. You'll probably not want any of these other shapes because you're planning on making a Minecraft item. Minecraft items don't have circles or spheres or some of these complicated shapes, or donuts or monkeys. So I prefer to use planes or cubes. Anyways, we got our cube here, looking snazzy. So go over here where it says object mode, change this to edit mode. Or alternatively, you can press the tab key on your keyboard to switch to edit mode. You'll know if it's edit mode if the squares or the faces of the cube or the sides of the cube are orange. That way you know you're in edit mode. Another way to tell if it's edit mode is down here too. Alright, now to deselect. If you're using 2.79, deselecting is usually A. But usually you deselect. Usually people have their own way of deselecting items. For me, it's Alt A. Anyways, back to the point. So yes, so you deselect. But you're still in edit mode, and you have all the sides unselected. To select a face, shift-click on one side of the cube. And you can move it around if you like, scale it. It would only change that by that particular face. You can do anything you want with it. Anyways, now to do the basic extrusions. So, to extrude, press E, and you can extrude it out. The way you can tell if a side is extruded when you see like a line right after like a shape. In other words, like if you click on a face, you extrude it out, you'll see that it forms another face or extends it, leaving its one side behind, which is this one. So yeah. So, but sometimes when you extrude something out, sometimes it doesn't go very neat. I mean, this one is an exception, but yeah. So when you extrude it out, you can just move the face to wherever you want and click. There you go. You deselect that one. You can also click on another face, extrude it out by pressing E, drag it out. There you go. So yeah, before you extrude, you have to make sure you click on the correct face you want to extrude. And also, if you want to form shapes, you gotta like extrude too. Like, let's say you click on the face, you try to drag it up, but it doesn't work. Like this. Simply because you just press E, do that, that's it. That's all. If you want to undo something, well, simply press undo, like that. But let's say you make a mistake and you don't want this here. Pretty much the tedious way to do this is to select the faces of a shape that you want to like cut off, like this top part, and press the delete key, or press X and press faces. There you go. But oh wait, it leaves a hole. That's alright. To fix this, go right here. So currently you are selecting by faces, or face select. So go to where it says vertex select, click on that. So you won't be able to click on any faces because you're going to click on vertexes. Basically what vertexes are the points that connect the faces. So you can see the little black dots right here, basically the corners of something. So now to fill in this hole, you click these 4 vertices, like so, which forms a square. As you can see, it's all highlighted to form a square. You press F, and there you go. It's gone now. The hole is filled. And after that, you can go back and click face select. All right. Now, here are some rules. Make sure when you're done extruding, you deselect. Otherwise, when you forget to deselect this face and you move on to another face like these two, or let's say just that one face, you extrude it out, this happens. Make sure you want to, like I said, make sure you deselect a face of what you were doing previously before moving on to another face. Otherwise you'll have that happen. Now, another rule is texture fighting. So let's say you want to extrude it out like this, and if there's like another color here, I'm just going to put a color for now. I'll explain the material stuff later. They're just doing a demonstration. Okay, so you got a blue color. Let's say you're trying to like push this down onto the face where it was at initially. Okay. Okay, never mind. Did work. But my point is, you would not want a face on the same place another face is on at the same time. Otherwise, your textures will be flickering, which I'll get to later. You would also not want like these empty gaps. Well, unless you want it, but you don't want these empty gaps in your Minecraft models kind of looks weird. So that's that. But anyways, let's get to actual modeling. So we just delete this for now. So first thing to model is think about what you want to model first and what would it look like. Let's see. I would like to model, I don't know, something like a ball. I don't know, Minecraft ball-ish something. I don't know, I'm just gonna do a random model. Let's try that. Oh yeah, to make additional faces, if you want specific parts of the square or cube to be extruded out, basically you Shift E, not Shift E, Control E, subdivide. Then it'll split all sides of the cube into 4s. You can do it again, subdivide to 8ths. Do it again, now 16. Well, we'll do it like this. This subdividing shapes makes it easier for you to like extrude certain parts. Like if you want to extrude this corner, just extrude it out, like so. Anyways, I'll be extruding some of this. You can watch and learn, see how I do it. Then you can try to extrude on your own. Pretty much what you can do is doing precise extrusions of how you want your model to look like. As what I'm doing right now. I'm deselecting the faces after I extrude them, then extrude them again, deselect, and symmetry. If your model needs to be symmetrical, but you would have a hard time eyeballing some shapes to make it more perfect or mirrored. And of course there are some modifiers and stuff you can use to symmetrize your models, but of how I do it, you don't have to do this, but I do this all the time. What I would do is select the faces on both sides, or the opposite sides at least. They're opposite to each other, and I extrude them out. I just press E and click, that's all. So yes, extrude them. We're pressing E, then click S, Y, depending on where the faces are facing. Which in this case, those faces that I selected are facing on the Y-axis. And then I scale them out. As you can see, they are scaled to equal size. But yeah, you can definitely like scale inside, so as long as it looks good. That's that. Anyways, I was modeling a ball. I don't know why I did this. Here we go. Got a nice weird ball. This doesn't look very accurate, but this is just a demonstration. So it doesn't really matter if my model for this one is detailed. Anyways, let's try another one. Let's say a flag pole that doesn't have any clothing modifications or rigging, just a simple flag. So let's try appending another cube, scale it down to small. Now would simply extrude up. If you want like exact extrusions, the same size as starting point, which is this cube, you can extrude first, then type in 0. Let's say 5. And obviously that's too much, so we're just put it to 4. Back up a bit. Undo. So extrude 0.02. That's too small. 5. Let's try 2. 1. 5, 3. Basically try your best to like make sure it's at a right size. It's a little bit off, but we'll just scale it up from hand here. You can even see the number on the bottom left corner of the numbers you typed. So 0.1, you can see that. But for now, I'll just extrude by hand. Just a reminder, you should not have two faces on the same spot, otherwise you're going to have some flickering textures, which means that two textures on the same spot are fighting each other to be viewed, which is also called texture fighting. And that should be long enough. Now I'm going to make like the flag itself, just like that. By the way, for certain models that you try to model, you don't really have to model separately like this. You can just like stretch it out if you want and stop at some point and extrude it out. But usually it's kind of a good idea to make things a bit split, so that when you're extruding certain parts, you can extrude them like at the spot where you split them, like here, and you extrude these out. Extrude these out like that, like so. Anyways, so that's the flag. Maybe we make it more wider, or at least like so. When extruding like this, you can also see the faces of where the faces are facing the axes. At this point is like the x-axis, so it's going into that direction. Okay, I got your flag. You can get out of edit mode, as I did right here. Oh yeah. When in edit mode on another object, you can't really like click on anything else unless you exit out of edit mode from that object. Like I'm clicking on this object but it doesn't work. That's because you're still in edit mode onto the object. So just simply get out of edit mode by pressing tab. Then you can click on to the next part or stuff, something. Anyways, without further ado, let's I mean usually I model more Usually my models are more detailed than this. Like I said, it's just a tutorial. I'm just showing you basics by basics and going easy. Anyways, to the next part, texturing. So obviously you don't want white objects just in a Minecraft scene. It looks weird. So this is where the materials part comes in. So on the right hand side, you click on New. And again, sorry, I'll get to that part later. Then you already have a material like so. You can even change the colors of what your flag is going to look like. But you simply don't want like an object with the same color. So to do this, go in edit mode, which will select different specific parts of the model with different colors. So for now, you just use this color as a base or main color or something. In this case, we'll just make it to a brownish color for the handle right here. And we can click this plus sign right here, click on that, press New. You can put a different color to that one. For me, I'll just put gray. Select the faces. You want them to be in a different color. it's important to like look around on your model so you can see to see if you have selected the correct faces. There you go. And press assign. Deselect. Now, these parts of the flag are in a different color. Let's change this part of the flag and change it to a blue color. So let's press the plus sign, press new, change it to a bluish color, select the faces you want to change the color of. Oh yeah, what I did was I pressed C, which is like a circle thing. You can just scroll the mouse wheel to scale the circle you want, and you just drag it like so. You can just select different faces by just shift clicking all the time, or shift clicking one at a time. But that's like more time consuming, so I just used C to. I just press C, use the mouse thing, select all the faces. So that way is more, you can save more time. So like get rid of those. Deselect. Deselecting a face is just the same thing as like shift clicking, selecting, deselecting, selecting, deselecting. There we go. Okay. That's that. Press the material, press assign, deselect, exit from edit mode, and there you go. Got like a flag. But using just colors would probably not make your Minecraft models more smooth. As you can see, they're kind of plain looking. Even if you try to like make details or gradients or shadings onto a model, that'll be hard because you have to click on material, press new for each one, and try to like figure out what the nearby colors would be. So you have to like randomize some of the colors yourself and selecting on the faces you want. I find this a bit inefficient. Like you don't want to like spend so much time doing that. So this is where the actual Minecraft texturing comes in. So with this ball over here, instead of just using colors, we're going to reuse the textures that are from Minecraft. So press new, go to where it says base color, click on this dot thing, and go to image texture. For a second, it'll the ball will turn black. That's because there is no image. And if you have like a Minecraft rig pack with all the blocks, items, and all that stuff, you can still use the textures from that pack to your models. So let's click open and find the rig pack folder of where you usually keep your rig packs in when you use Blender. It's saved on my desktop, so let's just go to that. It could be like BSS rig, like the one I'm using, or some other rig pack, or the Minecraft rig pack for Blender. We'll just use the Minecraft BSS rig pack. So, but if you're using the Cycles Minecraft rig pack, which I'm using, go to textures, and obviously you can't see the images in this form. So go up to here where it has those four little squares, click on that, and you can see what the images look like more better. But anyways, let's go to blocks and items, and click on the text. click on the texture that you want to use for your item. So let's just choose terrain and open image. There we go. It's all set. But wait, there's all these other items onto this item, and if you look closely, the images are blurry. To fix this, go back to the side, go to where it says linear right here, click on that, press closest. There we go. The images are now sharp. Now let's properly texture this so that it's more of a ball item. So I kind of want this to be like a, I don't know, a baseball or something, or volleyball. It's just a normal white ball in sports or something. So you split the screen, go up here on the edge, right click, split area. You can click anywhere you want. Just zoom into here, go down here, and click on UV editor. You can scale this out. So you got like this empty thing right here. So go down here, click that, and click the terrain that we just opened. And there you go. See, it's the same thing as here, except it's wrapped around. You can you can go into edit mode and select all of the faces. And as you can see, you can also select the faces on here too, by just deselecting, selecting, deselecting. As you can see, we can see the actual shape of the ball from here. But it doesn't really look like a ball per se, because if you look closely, some of the textures are stretched. And since this ball has originated from a cube, it kind of shows like a layout of that cube previously. So what do we do for that? To make the texture look more proper, press U, Smart UV Project. Just ignore all this. Press OK, and there you go. The model is unwrapped now, so that you can put the faces into their proper sections. And most times, depending on your model, of how complicated you make it, it's going to cram everything together, and sometimes you'll find faces are diagonal, which is a very weird and frustrating thing. Usually you have to like rotate the faces to their proper positions to like, let's say this ended up like this and your faces are like this. You just simply like try to rotate it back like so. But that's only one, that should be like one part of some parts of your model in the UV editor, depending on how detailed you make your model to be. So just undo these. Oh, sorry. But yeah, when you Smart UV unwrap, usually it just crams all of the modeled faces and stuff together, and you would have like a big mess or something. So I try to be careful with that. All right, now the next thing to do is to look into this image, well, behind the faces and all, and see what our ball. Let's see what our ball would look like, or what texture we should have. For me, I choose the white wool. So we're just gonna scale it down to a smaller scale. Press G to move it, and move it over the white wool texture. We'll do it for here. There you go. You got the ball that has the white wool texture. It's all wrapped around. But sometimes you would not see some very good voxel proportions. So to make things in order, you would just have, this one's a more time-consuming part since you have to like spend your time making sure that the voxels are consistent. So just select the faces on an area, as you can see these squares show, and try your best to match the squares onto the voxels of the white wool. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you don't really have to do this. And one reason you don't have to do this is because if you need to set up the base for a model, or the main texture for the model, which in this case the white wool, but still you would have to like make the voxels consistent if necessary. But for now we don't have to. You can do it if you want, but in order for your models to look good, sometimes some parts would have to like have the voxels more consistent, as what I did here. But that was just a demonstration. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. Yet again, you would still have to do it at some points. You don't have to do this every time. I mean, you don't have to make the voxels consistent for everything for the model unless you have a better way to do it. This is just a tutorial for beginners, but usually I don't do that. Depending on how complex the model is, I don't do that because that would be used for the base of the model. But this next texture I'll be adding onto the ball, you would need voxel consistency to make it more look good. To make it look good. So since I said baseball, I'm just gonna select like different faces or particular faces of the model. In this case, these faces. There we go. We're gonna select these ones too, all around a circle. And since I want these streaks to be red, like a baseball, I'll just move these to the red wool texture, like so. And yet again, you would have to make the voxels consistent. So go into here and try your best to make the voxels match up with the squares in the texture. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. Sometimes we need to like scale at certain axes like this or that, or all together. But in some cases you won't need to like make it perfect like this. You could just scale it down and it'll still take that square texture. Depending on the shape, it'll be a bit hard to make the voxels more consistent altogether. Like, for example, this shape. Like, sometimes you'll need to like select the whole thing. Sometimes you just like select the vertices only. Select this one too. By right-clicking it, just move this around, which takes it off. There you go. In some cases, some vertices will be like connected with another. Keep that in mind. If you want to be more precise, you could just select the vertices of a line move it onto like the edge of the face, like so. Usually, I feel like usually there's like a better way to do this, but again, you can just do it this way to make things a bit more simpler. I'm just going through the basics of how to like texture a model, so that's that. Okay, like this, for example, that you just saw. Some faces will be overlapping, so you have to like be careful with that when you're trying to separate shapes from each other in edit mode. When you select the face and you move it around, it also changes the face right here, depending on what you've selected, obviously. And that should be it. You can just exit out of edit mode. There we go. As you can see, the voxels are oh, I missed a spot. It's fine. This does a tutorial anyways. As you can see, voxels are consistent, but you can see at some parts it's not really perfect, but that's okay. Just make sure your models are precise, consistent, and not too complicated. You can make your models complicated as you want, but it'll just be a bit harder to select most of the faces together. Anyways, this concludes my modeling and texturing tutorial. I'm not sure if I'll be showing any other any other tutorials in the future, but if you like to learn how to do a specific thing in Blender for Minecraft animations, let me know. If you run into problems or need any help, you can join my Discord so I can help you out. Anyways, this is this is my first Blender tutorial.